The moment I handed Sarah my husband's suitcases, the expression on her face was unforgettable, especially with her husband looking on in confusion. In that fleeting instant of sheer disbelief, her flawlessly mascaraed eyes expanded in surprise. Her elegantly manicured hand darting to her mouth in astonishment, it made every moment of suffering I had faced worthwhile. However, I seemed to be jumping the gun. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Emma Mitchell, a 42-year-old marketing executive with a wealth of experiences to share. And until 3 weeks ago, what I believed was a sturdy foundation of a 15-year partnership. 2 years ago, my husband Daniel and I embarked on a new chapter in our lives by moving to Oakwood Terrace, in a serene, suburban enclave where tree-lined avenues weave between houses that stand at a comfortable distance. A sense of tranquility and seclusion envelops the scene. A neighborhood where friendly waves accompany the daily ritual of gathering mail, yet the true stories of each home remain hidden from view. Once upon a time, there were 2 neighbors, Sarah and Mark Henderson, who resided right across from our home. They embodied the ideal romance. She was always impeccably dressed, with every strand of blonde hair perfectly in place. He thrived in real estate with a captivating charm that turned houses into stories waiting to be told. Upon our arrival in the neighborhood, we were greeted with a delightful gesture, a bottle of wine accompanied by a batch of homemade cookies, which I later discovered had been lovingly sourced from the bakery downtown by Sarah. That moment should have signaled to me the truth of her character. You've arrived at the perfect moment. On that fateful Thursday morning, I spoke to Daniel, my voice echoing emptiness, as I lingered in the doorway of our bedroom. The sheets lay in disarray, a testament to the solitude of my slumber. He stood there, one hand awkwardly tugging at a sock, as if time had paused and the world around him had vanished. "What are you sharing with me?" he inquired. Yet those eyes, the ones I had relied on for 15 years, refused to connect with mine. In my hand, I cradled his phone, a vessel of untold tales waiting to be discovered. It was resting on the kitchen counter, forgotten for a moment as he stepped into the shower. As the notifications chimed in a flurry, I found myself taking an unexpected step, one I had never dared to take before. As I gazed upon the scene, it unraveled the very core of my understanding, leaving me to question all that I had known about my existence. With a hushed tone, I urged you to exercise more caution regarding your passcode, as I sifted through a trove of messages exchanged over the months between my husband and Sarah Henderson. The inappropriate exchanges, the planning, their secret encounters, and the playful banter about their private meetings while Mark was away on business, and I was burning the midnight oil, unfolded before me. "Emma," he began, but I interrupted him. "Could you clarify what you mean? How have you been sharing those intimate nights with our neighbor for the past 8 months? How you shared the news of our marriage nearing its end, while softly saying 'I love you' to me each night? Kindly. Daniel, share your insights." The atmosphere in the room was heavy, almost suffocating. Outside, through our bedroom window, I caught a glimpse of her tending to the plants on her front porch, blissfully unaware that the delicate facade she had built was beginning to fall apart. "It's not what you think," Daniel said, his voice smooth and calming, the same way he always spoke when he wanted to ease my frustration. There was a time when it brought me solace, now it sent shivers down my spine. "Is that so? I have a feeling that you've been involved with our neighbor when I'm not here." The harshness tasted strange on my lips, yet it seemed essential in that moment. "It feels like you've been deceiving me for months, all while secretly meeting with a woman who greets me every morning." That morning, a change stirred within me. The first wave of disbelief faded, leaving behind a haunting stillness. I experienced a sensation as if I were an observer witnessing the scene play out before me, detached yet fully engaged. "I was going to end it," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. It was simply a moment devoid of significance. I chuckled, then a sharp sound that caught even me off guard. "That's not good, Daniel. You put everything we created on the line for something that held no value." He extended his hand toward me, yet I took a step back. "Refrain." I observed his battle as he sought the perfect phrases that might somehow reverse the irreversible. None existed. "Is Mark aware?" I inquired. Daniel's face drained of color. "Absolutely not, Emma. I implore you. Let's share some thoughts on this." "Only the 2 of us." Let's navigate this together. As I gazed at the unfamiliar figure before me, a world of possibilities unfolded in my mind. The man who had been by my side during my father's farewell. The man who once embarked on a 12-hour journey without pause when I found myself stranded during a business trip. The man who seemed to navigate two worlds effortlessly, showing no hint of guilt until the moment of truth arrived. Isn't it intriguing? I spoke, my tone more composed than the turmoil within me. For the last few months, a nagging feeling lingered in my mind as if something were amiss. I began my journey in therapy, believing the issue lay within myself. I felt like I might be overthinking things or asking for too much. I took a deep breath. I carried the weight of our separation on my shoulders. As the sun began to set, Sarah completed her task of nurturing her plants and stepped back into the warmth of her home. The dwelling that my husband often frequented, it seems. At last I declared, I'm off to work. And when I return home, I anticipate your absence. Emma, this is my house as well, he asserted, finally discovering his courage. I smiled, yet it lacked any genuine warmth. Indeed, you have a point. Indeed it is. Let me share this in a straightforward way. There are two paths before you. Please step away for a moment as we work through this situation. Or I could reach out to Mark Henderson at this very moment and unravel your cozy little setup. His complexion faded, leaving him pale and shaken. It seems unlikely. Challenge me, I declared, taken aback by the strength of my own determination. For months now, it seems you've been misjudging my capabilities. Learn from that experience and move forward. As I stepped out of the room on my way to work like it was just another ordinary day, a realization began to take shape within me. This was just the beginning of a much larger tale involving Daniel's departure that would be far too simple, far too neat. No, this act of treachery, this disgrace right before my eyes warranted a response far more appropriate. Ending my marriage was not an option for me. I was poised to unveil their secret in a manner that would linger in their memories forever. That day at work unfolded like a whirlwind of moments. I found myself in meetings responding to emails and exchanging smiles with colleagues, yet my thoughts were consumed by the whirlwind of the past 8 months, reshaping each memory with this unsettling new understanding. On that evening, Daniel mentioned he had to stay late at work, and when he returned, there was a subtle scent of a perfume that was unfamiliar to me. During the weekend, I visited my sister. He recounted a fishing trip with the guys that curiously yielded neither fish nor any photographs to prove it. The moments when Sarah would make strangely recognizable remarks about aspects of my life that Daniel must have recounted to her. Every indication was present, fluttering like crimson banners in a storm. Yet my faith in him was so unwavering that I dismissed each one without a second thought. As I stepped through the door that evening, I found Daniel at our kitchen table, his complexion pale and his expression heavy with unspoken thoughts. I called off my dinner meeting, he remarked, as though that demonstrated some remarkable dedication. It's time to share our thoughts on this matter. With a gentle touch, I placed my purse down, ensuring it was safe and sound. Is that the tale you shared with Sarah? So you had to change your plans because your wife discovered something. He recoiled slightly. I haven't had a chance to share my thoughts with her. Liar, I said with a steady voice, pulling out my phone. During my lunch break, I decided to set up a call monitoring app. In a twist of fate, I never anticipated circumstances have led me down this unexpected path. This afternoon at 2:17, you reached out to her. Your words flowed for 6 minutes and 23 seconds. The expression on his face was almost gratifying. What was the way you... Is it significant? I interjected. What truly counts is that you're still weaving tales even at this moment. I took a seat opposite him. I have a single inquiry and I seek the honest answer. What makes her special? Out of everyone. Why our neighbor? Daniel's gaze lingered on the table as if it held secrets waiting to be unveiled. It unfolded unexpectedly. It simply occurred. Events unfold for a reason. Daniel, your decisions shaped the narrative, without fail. She was present, he murmured gently. In those moments of late-night toil when the weight of your aspirations pressed heavily upon you, she was simply, once upon a time, there was a place. The harshness of those words struck me as if I had been punched in the gut. Late nights were spent crafting a future that would sustain us together. The weight of my promotion rested on my desire to weave a brighter future for us all. "Is this really on me?" I inquired, my tone laced with an unsettling calm. As I was crafting my professional journey, "What is it? Are you sensing a lack of attention? That's not the message I intended to convey." He retraced his steps. "I'm attempting to clarify, not justify." I rose suddenly. "Gather your belongings. It doesn't matter to me where you choose to spend the night, but I must insist that you won't be here with me this evening. Emma, I implore you. 15 years. Hold on to that." His voice trembled. I found myself in a moment of regret. I'm determined to make things right. In a fleeting moment, I hesitated. 15 years unfolded like a tapestry, each thread woven with moments and memories. We had woven a tapestry of our lives together. We had shared dreams of little ones. Even if those dreams never came to fruition, our lives were woven together with shared histories, connected families, and combined finances. Sorting through all of that would be a real challenge. But then I recalled the tales I had come across, the relaxed manner in which they would share tales of their gatherings. Sarah's laughter echoed through the screen as she sent the emoji in response to Daniel's news about my late work hours. "Did you know," I said with a hint of nostalgia, "that I turned down a promotion in Chicago last year because you expressed how much you couldn't bear to leave this house? This neighborhood has its own tales to share." As I began to share my thoughts, a new understanding emerged. Could it have been due to her actions? "Did you shape my professional path to remain near your lover?" His quietude spoke volumes. "Leave now." I shared a secret. As he remained still, I sensed a fracture within me. "Leave now." I let out a cry that echoed through the night, certain the neighbors were listening in, along with Sarah. He leaped to his feet, retreating from me as if I were a threat. In that fleeting instant, it seemed I truly was. "I'll gather a few items," he said in a hurry. Let's have a conversation tomorrow when we've both had a chance to settle down." I observed him rush up the stairs. A peculiar understanding enveloped me. In 15 years of marriage, I had never raised my voice at him in such a way. I had always been the one who kept a level head, the one who brings harmony, the individual who made concessions. That's a thing of the past. As Daniel busied himself with packing upstairs, I found myself drawn to the front window, gazing across the street at the Hendersons' house. The lights flickered, casting dancing shadows that whispered secrets behind the curtains. Is Sarah feeling a surge of anxiety at this moment? Did Daniel give her a heads up that I was in the loop? A message from my sister Olivia lit up my phone, buzzing with anticipation. "Is everything all right? There was something different about you during our call earlier. I had kept it to myself so far. Voicing it would transform it into something tangible, something I wasn't prepared to confront." As I observed Daniel making his way down the stairs, a duffel bag thrown together in a rush, it became clear to me that I was in search of a companion. There are whispers about Daniel's unfaithfulness, sharing moments with our neighbor. "Would you be able to swing by tomorrow?" She replied without hesitation. "I'm on my journey now. Hold off on any actions I wouldn't approve of until I arrive." That brought a fleeting moment of joy to my face. Olivia's list of refusals was surprisingly brief. "I'll be sharing my time at the Marriott downtown," Daniel remarked, shifting uncomfortably by the entrance. "Kindly reach out to me tomorrow. Let's navigate this together." I remained silent. I stood there watching him leave our home, the sound of his car fading into the distance. I was convinced it wouldn't be the Marriott most likely right into Sarah's embrace as soon as Mark departs on his business trip tomorrow. The idea ignited a fire within me. That night, sleep eluded me. I lay awake, gazing at the ceiling, recounting each deception, each act of treachery. As dawn broke, my sorrow transformed into a solid, unyielding weight. I had a clear vision of my next steps. As Olivia stepped through the door, her embrace was so powerful it felt like it could shatter me. "Share every detail with me," she insisted. And so I did. Every captivating detail, each moment of understanding, every vision taking shape in my imagination. "Are you really certain about this?" She inquired about the moment I completed it. "It's a wild tale." "Well, I've been involved with the neighbor for 8 months," I said. In the place where I should have felt safe, they brought me to my knees, shattering the comfort of my own surroundings. I'm simply repaying a kindness. Olivia observed me intently for a while, then gave a nod of understanding. All right, let's dive in and begin our journey. What Daniel never grasped about me, what he clearly overlooked, was my ability to think strategically. One does not ascend to the role of a marketing executive without mastering the art of foresight and strategic planning. As we settled at my kitchen table that morning, I began, "Let me share something important with you, Olivia. I need to check in on Mark's schedule." "How will you manage that without giving Sarah a hint?" she inquired. I offered a faint smile. Mark and I share a unique bond. Our lives are filled with endless tasks and responsibilities. Each week, he shares the tales of his real estate open houses on the community Facebook page. As expected, a swift glance revealed that Mark had a lineup of open houses planned for the entire day on Saturday, once the sun rises on the morrow. Just the right moment. "It's time to gather Daniel's belongings," I said. Olivia arched an eyebrow, intrigued by the unfolding narrative. "Every single one." "No, just the right amount to weave a narrative." We dedicated the morning to sifting through Daniel's closet, choosing his beloved suits, the luxurious watch I gifted him for our 10th anniversary, and the monogrammed shirts his mother lovingly sent each Christmas. With careful consideration, I filled our biggest suitcases, including his toiletries, medications, and the cherished framed photo of us from his nightstand. "How about this?" Olivia raised the passport high, revealing its secrets within. After a brief pause, I reflected on it. "Include it. He'll find it useful when he's settled in a new place." As the clock struck noon, we found ourselves with 3 large suitcases filled to the brim. I reached out to Daniel with a message. "I've gathered a few important items for you. You'll find out the rest soon enough." His response arrived in no time. "Much appreciated. Would you like to have a conversation today?" I chose to remain silent. Instead, I reached out to my lawyer, a fierce and formidable woman who had navigated my company's contracts for years. She consented to rendezvous with me that afternoon. Olivia noticed my swift movements as I reached for my keys. What would be the reason for that? They simply did not. As Olivia remained at the house, I sat down with my lawyer, Regina, and shared all the details of my situation. As she meticulously jotted down her observations, a shadow seemed to creep across her face, deepening with each passing moment. "Evidence in the digital realm?" she inquired. "I possess visual evidence of all interactions. I've verified the details, and I have the phone records that document their calls." Regina gave a thoughtful nod, her expression one of approval. "Excellent. Is there anything more you would like to know from me today? A draft of an initial separation agreement, and I desire our accounts to be put on hold." She observed me intently. "Are you certain you don't want to explore the option of counseling first? The courts seem to have a more positive outlook." "I'm not swayed by appearances," I interject. "I have a keen interest in matters of fairness." In the sanctuary of our home, a tale of betrayal unfolded, entwined with our neighbor for a span of 8 months. He orchestrated my career decisions to pave the way for his secret romance. I wish for him to truly experience this. Regina's serious demeanor eased just a bit. "I hear you. This evening, the paperwork will be all set and ready to go." Back at home, Olivia had been weaving her tales. After some exploration, she revealed, "Sarah's been fluttering around the social media scene." Listen closely. She revealed to me the tales captured on Sarah's Instagram account. "This is now for your eyes only." Yet, Olivia had discovered a path in through a shared connection. Dozens of photos from the past year now held a deeper significance. In a bustling restaurant, Sarah found herself in the very place Daniel had insisted he had never set foot in. Sarah adorned her wrist with a bracelet that mirrored the one Daniel had insisted he purchased for his mother. Sarah embarked on a weekend adventure to the coast, all while Daniel claimed to be attending a conference. "She's been parading it around," I remarked, a wave of nausea washing over me, right beneath the surface where the unseen unfolds. It wasn't merely that Olivia remarked with a somber tone, "It seems that your home has been a backdrop for some intriguing tales. What is it?" With a gesture, she indicated a picture of Sarah elegantly cradling a wine glass. In the background, subtly present yet unmistakable to my eyes, was the distinctive tile backsplash from my kitchen. The moment struck me with the force of a sudden chill. They had shared more than just the night. They had been weaving their secret into the fabric of my home while I was away. A chill, unyielding weight took residence in my chest. Plans have shifted, I murmured softly. We're weaving together the threads of his journey. We are sharing them with you, once the sun rises on the morrow. That night, sleep eluded me once more. But this time it wasn't sorrow that held me in its grip during the night. It was a moment filled with eager expectation. On a Saturday morning, the sun rose with a brilliant clarity, casting a warm glow over everything. From my bedroom window, I observed Mark Henderson as he set off for his open houses clad in his finest real estate attire. After an hour had passed, Daniel sent another message. How about we grab a coffee and share some tales? Today is quite packed for me. I'll share my thoughts with you when the time feels right. His frustration was palpable, even over the phone. Excellent. Are you really certain about this? As we packed the suitcases into my car, Olivia inquired. Without a doubt, what Daniel was unaware of was that during his secretive escapades with Sarah, I had been forging connections in the neighborhood all by myself. Among those we encountered was Eleanor Winters, the retired teacher residing next to the Hendersons. During one of our morning strolls, she casually remarked that Sarah often had visitors bringing her mail whenever Mark was away. What a pity. Eleanor had remarked Mark is truly a wonderful person. Back then, it seemed inconsequential. In that moment, it dawned on me that Eleanor had been attempting to share something important with me. I had sent a message to Eleanor that morning. Is Sarah by herself today? She replied in no time. Absolutely, my dear Mark set off on his journey to work. She has spent the entire morning at home. Is everything okay? All is as it should be. If she happens to leave, could you send me a quick text? Absolutely. As the afternoon sun began to cast its warm glow, Olivia and I found ourselves in a moment of anticipation. The absence of messages from Eleanor indicated that Sarah remained at home. There haven't been any more messages from Daniel either. He might have decided to call it a day. Are you prepared? Olivia inquired, as we parked just opposite the Hendersons' residence. I inhaled deeply, prepared. As we arrived, we carefully unloaded the suitcases, rolling them up to the welcoming front door of the Hendersons' home. My heart raced with such intensity that its rhythm echoed in my ears, yet my hands remained calm as I pressed the doorbell. Time stretched on endlessly. In that moment, the door creaked open, revealing what lay beyond. Sarah Henderson stood there, her perfect smile wavering as she absorbed the scene of me, Olivia, and 3 hefty suitcases on her doorstep. Emma, she remarked, a hint of bewilderment coloring her tone. Is all well? A smile spread across my face, a smile that feels distant, as if it never truly touches the soul. Everything is truly delightful. Sarah, I've gathered Daniel's belongings. Given the amount of time he's been here, I figured they could come in handy for him. In an instant, Sarah's complexion shifted, leaving her looking as if she might collapse at any moment. Her mouth moved rhythmically, reminiscent of a fish struggling for breath in a dry world. I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean. With a quiver in her voice, she grasped the doorframe tightly, seeking stability. I inclined my head just a bit. Not at all. How curious it seems that the messages on his phone reveal a rather close connection between you two for quite some time now. With a gentle nudge from my foot, I sent the hefty suitcase rolling ahead of me. His attire, his personal care items. And this tale, I gently tapped the medium-sized case. He has those monogrammed shirts you admired, the ones bestowed upon him by his mother. Her eyes sparkled with intrigue at that particular detail, a sign that couldn't be clearer. Emma, I implore you. She leaned in close, her voice barely above a murmur, her eyes darting nervously back toward the house. This may not be as it appears. Really. What are my thoughts, Sarah? So you've been sharing my space with my husband while I'm away. So you've been sharing a few chuckles about me at those neighborhood barbecues, huh? What's happening here exactly? A resonant voice cut through my passionate outburst. Mark Henderson emerged from behind his wife, his gaze shifting between us, a deepening worry etched on his face. He had a commitment to attend his open houses. The intricately woven narrative in my mind started to unravel. Sarah's complexion shifted dramatically, transforming from pale to a sickly shade of green. Mark. Oh, you're back sooner than expected. The open house has been called off. Once upon a time, the Sellers found themselves facing an unexpected family emergency. His gaze lingered on the suitcases. Then it circles back to me. Emma. Can you share what this is all about? In a fleeting moment, I hesitated. This wasn't the way I envisioned it unfolding. Mark was meant to have left by now. And Sarah found herself in solitude, confronting the undeniable proof of her treachery. Yet there was something in Mark's puzzled look, that same innocent confusion I had experienced just days before, that strengthened my determination. For the past 8 months, I have to tell you, your wife has been involved with my husband, I stated plainly. It came to my attention on Thursday. I've gathered his belongings here. As it appears, this is where he often finds himself while you're busy with work. The stillness that ensued was overwhelming. Mark's face transformed, moving through a spectrum of emotions. First confusion, then disbelief, and finally settling into a shadowy intensity as he absorbed what I had said. That's absurd, Sarah finally exclaimed. Mark, it seems she's going through a really tough time. Could it be that she is? Mark interjected, his tone laced with a chilling calmness. He faced me. Do you have any tales to share that support this? I retrieved my phone, navigated to the screenshots I had captured, and silently passed it to him. With a swift motion, Sarah reached out for it, yet Olivia gracefully positioned herself between them. Don't, my sister cautioned. As Mark scrolled through the messages, a sense of tension grew within him with every swipe. The vivid details, the careful arrangements, the shared laughter that we both understand. As he raised his gaze, a chill flickered in his eyes. How long, he inquired of his wife. Mark, allow me to share my side of the story. How long, he bellowed, causing us all to recoil. As tears welled up in Sarah's eyes, her mascara began to streak down her cheeks, painting a picture of her sorrow. It simply unfolded. Mark, it held no significance. I chuckled with a hint of sorrow. Isn't it amusing? That's precisely what Daniel mentioned. Just as if fate had called his name, a car came to a sudden stop at the curb. Daniel leaped out, his expression a canvas of panic as he absorbed the unfolding drama on the Hendersons' doorstep. Emma, what tales are you weaving? He hurriedly approached, his voice calling out to us. Mark returned my phone and shifted his attention to my husband. It seems that your wife is in the process of bringing your things to their new place. He spoke, his tone unsettlingly serene. Since you found such ease in my presence. Daniel paused, glancing between Mark, Sarah, and me. Mark, hear me out. This isn't... If you claim this isn't what it seems, I might just lose it, Mark interjected. It seems as though there's a narrative unfolding here, one that suggests you've been involved with my wife without my knowledge and without Emma's awareness as well. With a gesture, he indicated the suitcases. Gather your things and leave my space. Daniel's expression twisted in dismay. Sarah, share your tale with him? What should I say to him? I inquired, rediscovering my voice once more. That you have been planning secret outings for the weekends ahead, so you found your way into our personal space while I was away. That you... My voice wavered a bit. So you shared with her that our marriage was struggling while assuring me that everything was okay. A modest assembly started to form along the pavement. Onlookers feigning casual strolls with their pets or leisurely mail checks, all captivated by the unfolding drama. Among them was Eleanor Winters, who offered me a subtle, melancholic nod of recognition. All eyes are on the scene. With a sharp intake of breath, Sarah tugged at Mark, urging him to step back into the safety of the room. This is something we should discuss in a more intimate setting. No, Mark replied with conviction, pulling his hand away from hers. I've had enough of keeping things hidden and under wraps. He faced me. Were you aware of this? Prior to Thursday? I shook my head, lost in thought. I was completely unaware. I stumbled upon their messages on his phone. Mark nodded, a shared recognition flickering in his eyes. Companions in a gathering that few aspire to be part of. Daniel, I said, turning to my husband, who looked utterly stunned. I've put a hold on our accounts. I have submitted the necessary documents for separation. On Monday, you can expect to hear from my lawyer. I waved my hand toward the suitcases. It would be great for you to consider these. I imagine you'll be looking for a place to rest, considering that both your beds are no longer an option. Daniel looked at me with a gaze that suggested I was a complete stranger to him. Maybe he hadn't. Not quite. Not this version of me that chose to rise above and reclaim my voice. "You can't do this," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "I have done that already." Mark took a step ahead, grasped the biggest suitcase, and forcefully pushed it against Daniel's chest. "Gather your belongings and go on your way." At this moment, the community stood in hushed awe as Daniel packed his belongings into the trunk of his car. With tears streaming down her face, Sarah found solace within the walls of her home, her cries echoing in the silence. As Daniel drove off into the distance, Mark glanced over at me. With a straightforward tone, he expressed his regret. "Same here. How about we share a cup of coffee and exchange some tales?" he inquired, catching me off guard. It seems there are many tales to share. In the midst of it all, I caught myself agreeing. I would really enjoy that. As Olivia and I strolled back to my car, the burden that had been pressing down on my chest since Thursday seemed to lift still here. The ache would remain for an extended period, yet it morphed into a weight I could bear. "Are you all right?" Olivia inquired gently, gripping my hand. I glanced back at the Hendersons' house where Mark lingered on the porch, his expression mirroring the shock I had experienced just days before. I responded with complete honesty. "However, I believe I will be..." Half a year went by. The cycle of the year turned anew. As time passed, the scars started to fade. The conclusion of the divorce came about more swiftly than I had anticipated. Daniel accepted it without resistance. It was quite impossible given the overwhelming evidence that loomed over him. The house remains with me. He carried his guilt with him. 3 weeks after that fateful day on their doorstep, Sarah and Mark Henderson decided to put their house on the market. It seems they went their separate ways, with Mark remaining in town, while Sarah returned to her parents' home in Michigan. The neighborhood whispers eventually shifted focus, yet Eleanor Winters still surprises me with cookies now and then, sharing her pride in my moxie. In those early months, Daniel reached out to me multiple times. Messages of regret. Messages sharing the journey of self-discovery through therapy. There was a time when a bouquet arrived at my workplace, accompanied by a note pleading for a cup of coffee. Simply to share tales. I gave the flowers to a local nursing home and chose not to reply to any of his attempts to connect. Some wounds remain open, telling their own tales. Not all betrayals warrant a chance at redemption. What truly amazed me was the bond I formed with Mark. What began as a simple coffee invitation blossomed into weekly strolls, followed by the delight of sharing occasional dinners. Two fractured souls discovering solace in the presence of someone who genuinely grasped their unique struggles. "Do you believe they had value?" Mark inquired one evening while we lounged on my back porch, observing the fireflies twirl in the warm summer twilight. To one another, I mean. Was their secret worth sacrificing everything they had? I pondered the question thoughtfully. I believe it was never truly about value. I finally shared my thoughts. It was a tale of ease and simplicity, possibility, self-centeredness. He nodded with a thoughtful expression. I find myself pondering whether I overlooked any clues. If only I had been aware I felt the same way I confessed. However, I've come to a realization. Their decisions didn't mirror our shortcomings. They mirrored their own deficiencies, honesty and moral principles, bravery, respect. In the deepening shadows, Mark's hand reached for mine, a silent connection forming between us. A sign of empathy, not a tale of love. Not at this moment. We were both on a journey of recovery, continuing the journey of rebuilding trust. Next month, he shared, I'll be diving into the world of real estate in Colorado, breaking the comfortable silence that lingered between us. A journey that spans a week. Majestic peaks rise against the horizon, fresh and pure atmosphere. You really ought to join us. As I glanced his way, a wave of astonishment washed over me. As your journey unfolds, my companion, he exclaimed in haste. Distinct spaces. Simply, it seems we might benefit from a fresh viewpoint, a journey away from this location and its recollections. I held his hand softly. I would enjoy that. As the night deepened, and Mark returned to his own place, I found myself alone in my bedroom, reflecting on the day's events. The space that had once been a shared haven with Daniel. and came to the understanding that an entire day had passed without a single thought of my former partner, without experiencing that piercing sense of treachery, without contemplating the choices I might have made in another way. Advancement unfolds in subtle instances. In the stillness that lingers between heartbeats, transformation unfolds. With a quick motion, I grabbed my phone and sent a message to Olivia. "Next month, I have plans to venture to Colorado." She replied without hesitation, "With the guy next door, indeed, as companions." At this moment, a grin spread across my face at her playful banter, then strolled to the window that gazed upon what was once the Hendersons' home. Last month, new owners took up residence. A young couple navigating the joys of parenthood with a lively toddler and the anticipation of welcoming another little one into their family. I greeted them with a glass of wine and some cookies from the store, not pretending for a moment that I had baked them myself. The insights I've gained reveal that reality is often more straightforward than deception. The path ahead with Mark remains uncertain, or with my journey, or with this home brimming with intricate tales. Yet I am aware of this. I endured a betrayal that felt unimaginable, and I came out more resilient. Not without its scars, yet resilient. Sometimes when life delivers heartbreak, you don't merely endure it. It serves as a foundation for creating something fresh and imaginative. Something genuine. And sometimes the most profound form of retribution lies not in the act of revealing the truth, but in the serene strength of reconstructing your existence, away from those who sought to undermine it. I draw the curtains on my past perspective and embrace the unfolding journey ahead.